We're here at the launch press conference for the Jessica McCaskill Lauren Price fight. We'll start with talking about that fight. How an exciting a fight is that one? Obviously both from British perspective in terms of Lauren Price and then world champion in terms of Jessica McCaskill.
I think it's a great fight. I think you've got experience against inexperience, and that's going to be the main key. You've got a fighter that's got all the experience in the world needed in this game against an inexperienced fighter, and it'll be a 7th professional fight. And that's the one thing she'll like: experience. She has the heart, she has the fire, she has the gun power, but she doesn't have the experience. It's a risk she's willing to take because she believes she has the boxing ability to outdo McCaskill. It's a tough fight. McCaskill's a favourite. No matter what, you've got to look at it that way. You'd be an idiot to say otherwise. But it's a case of Lauren. You don't know how good she actually is. You know she's good, but you don't know how good she'll actually be. So this fight, in a way, for her, it works out pretty cool because she loses. You know what? I went in there with a champion. I'll learn. I'll come back better. She wins. Catapults her through. Jessica McCaskill spoke about fighting Katie Taylor around the same time in her professional career, with the same dreams, same aspirations, same intentions, same thoughts, and she lost. But now, you know, she's fighting somebody that's in the same position. Can Lauren change history?
And you mentioned a lot about inexperience and how that might be a hindrance. But can it sometimes be a positive if mixed with some confidence that she comes in there in maybe a way that McCaskill's not expecting with that inexperience, and as long as she's confident in what she's doing?
Without a doubt, she's going to be confident 100%. The pressure won't get to her. She's used to performing in high pressure sports, so that's not going to be a problem for Lauren. For Jessica, the problem is she's got to think small because everything she's done and achieved, she's got to try not do a Carl Froch when he boxed George Groves and think, you shouldn't be in here with me. She's got to get her head in a respectful position to say, this girl can beat me. So I've got to make sure everything's on point. I've got to go in there with that mentality that I'm being hunted. You know, because it's going to be very hard to do that with a fighter that's only had 6 fights. That's never done the things you've done as a professional, and that's where it'll play. It's a bit of a mind trick, you know, a bit of a minefield when it comes out. But we'll see how it turns out.
And it's been a very respectful day so far between the two fighters. Does that ever make a difference in the fight when you obviously look at fights like Catterall and Taylor, where there's a lot of hatred there and there's a lot of passion, and when they're respectful, does that have a difference when it comes to fight night?
It doesn't. You remember you had Dan Aziz against my goodness, Joshua Buatsi. It was very respectful all the way through. An amazing fight. It shows professionalism. You've got two fighters that believe they are good fighters. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to get under each other's skin. You don't have to dislike each other. You know, these two fighters are very professional, very respectful. The thing is, to be a fighter, you don't have to be a badass. You got to be a smart ass. So these two, they can fight. They don't have to be throwing tables all over the place, you know, to promote the fight. They don't have to do that because they can fight.
And then to move on to some other boxer shows, obviously Boxer have got some huge things planned over the course of this year, we imagine. But one that we know about already, Fabio Wardley versus Frazier Clarke. That's one where there has been a little bit of an edginess to the build-up to it. There was some pre-fight antics at the Portman Road with the Ipswich and Norwich shirts. And what do you make of that fight as a fight for British boxing?
Great fight. I think the pressure is on Frazier because Frazier, everything he's achieved through his amateur pedigree coming through is on the line. I think Fabio plays on that because he said, I'm a white collar fighter. You know what I've done. So if you lose, what do I lose? You know, it's expected. Fabio's got more professional experience than Frazier, and this is what will work in his favour. Fabio has, you know, he's an athlete where we don't know how good he is, but he's good. Whereas Frazier, he's not had the opportunity to get in there, and he's not got the professional experience. So all the big question marks are above Frazier. You know, what will guess out? It won't be experience. It won't be talent and pedigree because we know he's got that. It's professional ring experience, and this is the big question mark. I'd lean towards Frazier because of his pedigree, and I'd lean towards Fabio because of his professional experience. That's why this will be a good fight all in all.
And then another boxer fighter that you can't really talk about boxer at the moment without mentioning, Ben Whittaker, Marmite in many people's eyes. What do you make as someone who's been around boxing and a real boxing purist about his antics inside and outside the ring, taking the piss out of his opponents, this sort of thing?
Well, you're talking to the wrong person in that one, because I'm from a gym that does that. Prince Nassim Hamid was a member of our gym. We're taught to do that kind of stuff in the gym, because boxing is not just about when the bell goes. It's about mental foreplay. There's a bit of foreplay going in it. You've got to make your opponent either love you or hate you, fear you or for you. You've got to get in the head of your opponent, and Ben is brilliant at it, and he backs it up. I remember the same thing with Naz coming through, and the people saying exactly the same thing. And they said, wait till he gets to top level. We won't be able to do it at top level. And when he did it at top level, it made him a global superstar. And Ben is doing exactly the right thing. Just remember, this young man, his work ethic is ridiculous. And his professional attitude to his career is ridiculous. What he's done is he's put himself in a position where to say, you are going to talk about me. If through hate or love, you're going to talk about me. And he's doing a great job. As a professional behind the scenes, he trains really, really hard. So he gets the job done. If he did one and not the other, then we'd have a problem. But he doesn't both.
And then to jump over to last week, we had a huge fight night out in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, we're here in Cardiff today. Gavin Gwynn fought Mark Chamberlain on that fight or on that card, and Gavin took a horrible injury to the eye quite early in the fight. What did you make of that fight? Because it was a difficult night for Gavin, and obviously a brilliant night for Mark as well in there.
You know what? I saw the fight. It was a good fight. Good atmosphere packed, and it was atmosphere packed, and it was that's just how it was. These things happen in boxing, and when you get your eyes like that, you can't do anything about it. I think it was a cracking fight. I really enjoyed it. Totally enjoyed it.
And then the big man, Anthony Joshua, a brilliant finish on Francis Ngannou. And that was something I called. We like to have a bit of competitiveness on the podcast. I called that he was going to get a knockout. Did you expect Anthony Joshua to go in there and get the knockout? And did you expect that Ngannou could even go down in that fashion?
You called it better than me. I didn't think Anthony Joshua could knock him out. I thought he'd beat him. I thought it'd be day and night. I think he had far too much experience for it to be anything else. I didn't think he'd knock him out. And I think the knockout showed the inexperience of Ngannou as a professional fighter. He was a one-fight novice going into that against a world-class fighter. So that's you get world-class results. So Anthony Joshua, bang on, things fell in place. The attitude he took was get in there, let his hands go, which is what he had to do. And that's why I've got to give credit where credit is due. If I'm going to give him a slagging, I'll slag him off. And if I'm going to give credit, I'm going to give credit. And the credit is this. He went in there. Ben Davison got into his head to say, let your hands go. This is what you're capable of doing. He's got him to believe in himself. So getting him to believe in himself, that's the results you get. And so he takes that belief in with anybody, then you'll get amazing results.
We spoke to Brandon Scott of Matchroom Boxing, and he said to be a great boxer, you almost have to have a delusion towards yourself that you can beat anyone when you get in the ring. Do you believe that Anthony Joshua can get in the ring with the likes of Usyk, someone he's lost to already, and Fury, and believe 100% that's a fight I'm going to win? Okay,
so that line is there's 7.888 billion people on this earth. If you're the heavyweight champion, you've got to believe you can beat 7.888 billion people on this earth. This is how you've got to be in your own head. So, and these fights, and I know these are just words, this is how you've got to think if you're going to be a world champion. You've got to think you're the best fighter in the whole world. Anybody, in Timbuktu, in the Amazon, you've got to believe that. Anthony Joshua, his world was shook when he lost to Alexander Usyk the second time, because he did everything he possibly could do and tried everything possible to fix what he thought was a mistake. So when he lost to Usyk again, that's when his world more or less fell apart, and he had to proper go back and regroup. Does he think he can do that? Beat Usyk? I don't know, because when you've been a world champion and you've had that delusion and thought you were the best in the world, and you get turned over, and then you fix it the second time and say, I made a mistake. But then it happens again, and then you get the opportunity to do it and going again with the same person, and it happens again. It's got to affect you somehow. Does Anthony Joshua believe he's the best fighter on the planet? I don't know. I don't know what Ben's done to him. I don't know what Ben's instilled in him. I don't know if that belief is there.
And we talk about belief. Tyson Fury obviously had a difficult night against Francis Ngannou. Do you think, despite that, he still has the belief in himself that he's the best? Or will that wobble him a little bit, thinking, I went in there with an MMA fighter and I didn't look all that good?
No, but Tyson Fury, listen, it will rattle him because of the result, the way the result was. Anthony Joshua got the result and he knows what the fans will be saying. He did rattle him. Tyson Fury is arrogant enough to believe he's the best fighter in the world, and like it or not, he's proved that today. His performance against Ngannou was terrible because he underestimated Ngannou. We all did, but he was the one that was, at the receiving end of it. Anthony Joshua benefited from that in seeing the mistake and in how ill-prepared Tyson was. Tyson Fury's managers come out with an excuse, which I think he slipped up there. He should never have done that. Should have kept his mouth shut. Whereas fighters, there's many stuff happens to fighters in camp, and you just don't say it because you look like a bit of a crybaby. Well, it's only because of this. You don't get your mate to say it. You just keep it quiet. And Spencer Brown said, well, he'd not slept for 3 days, and he was like, that's a rookie mistake. You don't do that. So regardless of what had happened, he just said he was ill prepared, but he still got the win. Tyson Fury believes he's the best fighter in the world. I still believe Tyson Fury, if he boxes on form, he beats Usyk. If he boxes on form, if he's a fighter that I think he is. If he's telling the truth and he boxed to the best of his ability and he trained at an amazing training camp when he boxed Ngannou the last time, then he's not the fighter on form. You can only go by your last fight. So do we believe him or disbelieve him? That's where the problem is. So if you're going to speak. Don't dig a hole for yourself.
And then last one from me. We've seen a recent trend of boxers who have retired coming back in the ring for exhibition-style fights. We obviously saw it with Floyd Mayweather. And recently Mike Tyson's been announced he's going to be fighting Jake Paul, a YouTuber. What's your thoughts on that from a boxing perspective, that Mike Tyson, age 58, is going to be getting back in the ring with someone for another payday?
Tyson's 57, is the same age as me. Tyson's style suits a young man. At 57 years old, it's not going to work. Jake Paul is buying these fights. He's buying Anderson Silva's. Do you think Jake Paul could have done that to Anderson Silva in his day? No. Do you think he could have done that to Mike Tyson in his day? No. But he's getting these guys that are well past their best. He's getting the name. He's getting the name on the record. I get it. It's great business. And so you've got to look at the fighters. So Mike Tyson, he's putting that reputation on the line to get in there with Jake Paul. He must be getting paid a hell of a lot of money because he's still a money maker. So he must be getting paid a hell of a lot of money. But you've got to look at facts. Mike Tyson's style does not suit an old man. It suits a young, fresh young man. My style suits an old man. You can box, walk around, kid him kind of. Mike Tyson's not that guy. He's an animal. And you saw that in the back end of his active career. So let's see the rules of engagement. Is it an exhibition? What is it? We don't know. And so we'll just wait and see. Wait and see how it turns out.
You said your style suits an old man. If that call came, would you pick up the phone or would you brush it off and continue doing this stuff?
They're paying me the ridiculous kind of money they're paying him. Oh, hell yeah. But it's not something I chase.
Perfect. Cheers. Thank you very much.